Americans are pulling out one of the most shocking wild plants in North America. A green often described as highly nutritious, tested in a lab against human breast cancer cells, and still growing beside driveways, fences, and backyard gardens. This is lamb's quarters. Most people were trained to spray it, trash it, and call it a weed. But older cultures treated it as food, and modern science found compounds interesting enough to study seriously. So before you pull it from your tomato bed or poison it with lawn chemicals, watch what this plant really is. This is not a cancer cure story. It is the story of a free food plant America was taught to hate. That small backyard mistake is bigger than it looks. It is not just a gardener throwing away an unfamiliar plant. It is a modern ritual. Clear the bed, bag the wild green, call the garden clean, then buy nutrition somewhere else. But lamb's quarters did not need a seed packet, a fertilizer schedule, a plastic clamshell, or a refrigerated truck. It appeared because the soil was disturbed, open, and alive. And in many older food cultures, that was not a problem. That was an invitation. People did not see this plant as a dirty intruder. They saw it as food. To understand how strange our modern reaction really is, we have to go back much further than the American lawn, further than the grocery store, and further than the word weed itself. In the spring of 1950, peat cutters working in Jutland, Denmark struck something in the bog that was not wood, stone, or buried root. It was a man, curled in the dark peat with a noose still around his neck. The acidic bog water had sealed him so completely that his face, beard stubble, fingerprints, and even the contents of his stomach remained intact after 2,400 years. Archaeologists would call him Tollund Man, and when scientists examined his final meal, they did not find some royal grain, sacred crop, or lost ceremonial food. They found porridge made from dozens of plant species, with a wild chenopod at the center of the meal, a close botanical relative of lamb's quarters. In Iron Age Europe, this was not exotic. It was field food, survival food, ordinary food. Modern forensic science did not recover a legend. It recovered a dinner. And that is what makes the story uncomfortable. A plant family preserved inside a 2,400-year-old stomach may still be growing closer to you than the nearest grocery store. The plant is called lamb's quarters. Some gardeners know it as fat hen, goosefoot, or less precisely, pigweed. But most Americans know it by the name that ended the conversation before it even began: weed. And that name is the trap. Once a food plant gets renamed as a weed, people stop asking what it tastes like, what it contains, or why older cultures kept eating it. Lamb's quarters belongs to the broader chenopod world, the same ancient plant group connected to grain-like seeds and edible greens across multiple food traditions. In India, bathua is folded into everyday meals. In Mexico, related wild greens live inside the tradition of quilites. In China, similar greens have long been cooked instead of sprayed. But in modern America, lamb's quarters often grows along fence lines, driveway edges, backyard corners, compost piles, and untreated raised beds, waiting for someone to recognize it before the trash bag comes out. And once you stop seeing it as lawn waste, the nutritional story becomes harder to ignore. Depending on the source, growing conditions, and preparation, lamb's quarters is often reported as an exceptionally nutrient-dense wild green, rich in minerals, vitamin C, iron, and plant protein compared with many familiar grocery greens. That does not make it magic. It makes it uncomfortable. Because this plant does not need a plastic tub, a wellness label, a refrigerated truck, or a monthly supplement habit to become valuable. It needs clean soil and human knowledge. A branded green powder keeps you buying. A clean corner of a backyard gives you capability. Older food cultures did not eat plants like this because they were trendy. They ate them because they were available, nourishing, and practical. The real shock is not only what lamb's quarters contains, it is how long human beings understood its value before modern America forgot. Before corn became the crop most Americans associate with this continent, North America already had its own food system. Archaeologists call it the Eastern Agricultural Complex, with evidence across Oklahoma, Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, Missouri, and other parts of the eastern United States. And this was not random foraging. Native farmers were selecting, saving, and improving plants over generations. One of those plants was a chenopod closely related to lamb's quarters. The evidence is buried in the seed itself. Wild chenopod seeds had a thicker coat, built to survive for years in the soil. The domesticated form had a thinner coat, easier to germinate, easier to grind, and easier to use as food. That difference matters. A thinner seed coat does not appear because someone casually picked weeds from a field. It appears because people paid attention, saved the useful plants, and slowly shaped them into crops. That is agriculture. And this changes the whole story. Today, Americans pay premium prices for ancient grains, heritage foods, regenerative farming, and imported superfoods. But part of that older food intelligence was already here in North American soil long before the modern grocery store gave food a barcode. Lamb's quarters was not born as a backyard nuisance. It belonged to a food memory that was pushed aside, renamed, and eventually treated like a problem. And this was never only an American story. Across the world, people kept meeting this same broader plant family and kept arriving at the same conclusion. This was food. In the Andes, its cousin became quinoa. In Mexico, huauzontle and quelites entered everyday cooking. In India, bathua went into flatbreads and winter dishes. In China, similar greens were stir-fried, simmered, and treated as normal vegetables. Different languages, different climates, different kitchens, but the same practical truth. People cooked these plants because they were available, nourishing, and useful. That is what makes the modern American reaction so strange. A plant connected to ancient agriculture, global kitchens, and survival food did not suddenly become useless. It was reclassified. The question is not why older cultures ate it. The question is why modern America learned to hate it. Then came the American lawn. Not a garden, not a food system. A lawn, flat, green, trimmed, and empty enough to signal that the homeowner was respectable. And that is where the story gets uncomfortable. Lamb's quarters did not become useless. It became unacceptable. In 1947, the Scotts Company began selling American homeowners a new chemical solution, 2,4-D, a selective broadleaf herbicide that could kill plants like dandelion, plantain, clover, and lamb's quarters while leaving grass behind. From that point on, many useful plants were no longer treated as seasonal food. They were framed as enemies of a clean yard. This was the rebranding, not from edible to poisonous, but from useful to embarrassing. Once that idea entered suburban America, HOA pressure, neighborhood judgment, and garden center marketing helped lock it in place. A homeowner could walk into Home Depot, Lowe's, or a local nursery and spend money to destroy a plant that earlier cultures had cooked for dinner. And that is the trap hidden inside the word weed. It often says less about the plant than it says about the system judging it. A weed is usually just a plant growing where a human design does not want it. And once the lawn industry changed the story, the grocery and wellness industries benefited from the silence. Americans walk into Whole Foods, Costco, Trader Joe's, or a regular supermarket and buy spinach, chopped kale, spring mix, and power greens because they want something clean, healthy, and convenient. There is nothing wrong with grocery greens, but there is something strange about paying every week for packaged nutrition while spraying or trashing a plant with a long food history behind the garage, beside the fence, or around the raised bed. This is where lamb's quarters becomes bigger than nutrition. It exposes two completely different versions of health. One version keeps you buying. Supplements, green powders, organic grocery runs, bottled drinks, plastic tubs of greens, and chemicals to keep the yard looking acceptable. The other version gives you capability. Clean soil, basic tools, compost, identification, patience, and one untreated corner where useful plants are allowed to exist. One path is recurring consumption. The other is knowledge you keep. That is why lamb's quarters fits this story almost too perfectly. It self-seeds. It grows aggressively. It asks for very little. It does not need a miracle label, a subscription model, or a wellness brand to make it valuable. Older food cultures did not separate health from the food supply the way modern marketing does. They ate greens in season, close to where they grew because that was normal life. And that leaves a deeper question. If this plant is nutritious, historically important, easy to grow, and almost impossible to control, why has it received so little serious attention from the industries that claim to care about health? Then there is the lab study that sounds almost too strange to ignore. In 2009, researchers tested Chenopodium album leaf extract against human breast cancer cell lines in a laboratory, and the extract showed cytotoxic activity, but this is where the line has to be drawn clearly. That does not mean eating lamb's quarters cures cancer. It does not mean this plant replaces treatment, medicine, screening, or a doctor. A lab dish is not the human body. But the study still tells us something important. Lamb's quarters was not just poor people's spinach. It contained compounds interesting enough for scientists to examine seriously. And that is where the story becomes uncomfortable again. A free, self-seeding, wild green growing beside a fence does not fit neatly into the modern wellness machine. It is not a branded capsule. It is not a proprietary green powder. It is not a monthly subscription. Traditional use does not prove medical claims, but it does show that people valued this plant long before modern marketing had language for it. So use lamb's quarters for what it safely is. A nutritious seasonal green with a long food history, not a miracle cure. This is not a cancer cure story. It is a story about what gets studied, what gets sold, and what gets ignored. And before anyone runs into the yard with a basket, this part matters. Knowledge is the difference between food independence and foolish risk. Do not eat any wild plant unless you are completely sure what it is, and never harvest from dirty or chemically treated places. Lamb's quarters is easier to recognize than many wild greens, but easy does not mean careless. Look for diamond-shaped leaves with slightly toothed edges, soft green on top, and a pale, powdery white coating on the underside of young leaves. That coating is called farina. If you gently rub it between your fingers, it brushes off like dust. You will often find the plant in disturbed soil, garden edges, compost areas, raised bed margins, fence lines, and backyard corners. But the location matters as much as the plant. Never harvest from sprayed lawns, roadsides, HOA common areas, chemically treated yards, or anywhere near driveway runoff. If a lawn service has been there, leave it alone. The safer path is an untreated backyard, an organic garden bed, or even a clean container where you control the soil. You do not need rare seeds or a survivalist fantasy. You need identification, clean ground, and patience. Older food cultures harvested young greens seasonally, not recklessly. And once you know what you are looking at, the next surprise is how normal it becomes in the kitchen. Lamb's quarters does not need to be treated like emergency food. Think of the young leaves first as a spinach-like green, mild, slightly sweet, and often less bitter than stronger grocery greens. Boil them briefly, drain them, then sauté with garlic, olive oil, salt, and a little lemon. Add them to omelets, tacos, soups, beans, skillet potatoes, pasta, or rice bowls. In India, batwa goes into flatbreads. In Mexico, quelites are often cooked with eggs. In China, similar greens are stir-fried with ginger or folded into simple meals. Different cuisines, same lesson. Heat turns the weed back into food. The seeds can be used more like quinoa, but for most people the leaves are the easiest place to start. And after all the history, the science, the lawn chemicals, and the grocery store contradiction, the ending becomes painfully simple. The plant was never missing. We were just taught not to see it. Lamb's quarters was never just a weed. It was food, history, and survival renamed as a backyard problem. A 2,400-year-old body preserved that truth in a Danish bog. Modern America buried it in trash bags, lawn chemicals, and grocery receipts. We did not lose this plant because it failed us. We lost it because someone taught us that free food was an enemy. Before you spray it or pull it, take a closer look. The next forgotten food may already be growing in your yard. Subscribe because the next vault opens where most people never think to look.